do you think the Hyphy movement kind of stayed regional?
Well, that's all perception.
Okay.
It's all perception,
Right.
you know. For one, to look at it and see, you know, what position did you play. I mean, I can't say that it stayed regional when I was doing shows all around the world. You know, I was paid to go to Europe and do a European tour, and so many different requests in Japan, and to see different things for people to take it to that level. I think one of the reasons why it was perceived as being regional, because some of the artists never allowed themselves to go out of the area. Demographically, they were so in tune with what was going on that if you could leave, you didn't have to leave California, and you could still make a good living, an honest living. You're doing shows every weekend. You're getting 4,000 to 5,000 shows, you know, a show for an artist, and it's like all I have to do is go up to from Oakland to Oregon.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I can, you know, sometimes Seattle, but I could go to these target markets in the South. They call them chitlin circuits. But to be able to touch these same circuits and still make an honest living, it was pretty good. As people began to venture out, the Hyphy movement, when you look at what the Hyphy movement is, and here's some things. The Hyphy movement was a marketing campaign by Warner Brothers. So they bought Hyphy.com, they bought, you know, and they pushed the whole campaign because they had two of the biggest artists that were involved in it. They had E40 and they had the Federation. So their ploy was to capitalize off the marketing as much as they possibly can. So they pushed those artists. What happens is you get engulfed in a marketing ploy by a record label that's only worried about their artists. So you don't get the real birth and you don't get the real spawning of that movement. So you don't get the tour that encompasses everyone.
Right.
You may get these two on a show, these three on the show, but you don't get a fully nationwide tour that's funded by the pushers of this movement, because they don't have, why would they have any concerns for any other artist that they're not getting paid for?
Right.
So they wouldn't push a whole Bay Area movement.
Right.
They only wanted to push the artists that they had. And that's no disrespect to the artists that they had, or no offense to them. You would protect your own and you would push your own. That's what you're supposed to do naturally.
And weren't you with Atlantic at the time?
I was with Atlantic, but this is like kind of like the ladder of it.
Okay.
In the infancy stages of it, they jumped in early. Warner jumped in early. So the ladder of it would be...
That's why we saw Federation first.
See Federation.
Almost like the 18th done.
Most definitely. But they also had a wonderful producer in Rick Rock. So Rick Rock was one of the creators and the curators of that whole sound. You know what I mean? Just from his ability of what he represents, is one of the best producers in the game. I think he's actually one of the most underrated producers. So you never got a chance to see it in its completion. You always saw particles of it, and because of that, I felt like the whole ball couldn't move that way nationwide. So it was perceived as just staying local.
Okay. Were you, so what I'm kind of getting at, you kind of guys were more of like the theater, saying it was a marketing thing. It does make sense. Hyphy Jews, they had all kind of hype, right?
Right.
You guys were more, you're more, say you were more on the Thiz movement instead of the Hyphy, but you were still...
I made music.
It was a culture still, though.
I made music, and I played a significant role in the furthering of the culture, and the creation of the culture, and making and marketing it, making the music, representing what we represented for my side and my perception, and the subtitles and other titles were all left in the perception of those that hide behind names. We were making music that was a reflection of the lifestyle that we were living. We were having fun at that time, sonically, the sound, and this is what it was called. And whatever people wanted to run with, and that's what they ran with. As youngins, and when you get caught up in names and things like that, you want to side with certain sides. Being indecisive, being a youngin, you get caught in manipulative strategies of people to see who's on what side. But as you get older and you look back on it and you say, man, I made music. I played a part in it, had fun. And, you know, life goes on. You move forward.
Yeah, producers that you brought out to me, I never heard of them until you. Shanti, what's up with him?
Shanti was definitely before me. Shanti had made music in the
I never
90s.
knew. You brought him.
Shanti had made music. Shanti did Feeling Myself for Mac Dre. You know, Shanti did that. He did several records for Mac Dre. Shanti did the majority of all of the early Messy Marv music.
Right.
And then in the early 90s, the MOG movements out of EPA, they were super big. So they were selling hundreds of thousands of records, before. So the resurgence, I think the resurgence of Sean T, of him coming back, was through some of the music that we did. The Ghost Ride, the Kicked Out the Club, and a few other things. But Sean T had already been Bay Area legend before Mr. Fab had even started rapping, possibly.
And it's weird, I'm giving you a perspective of a kid that was in 06, was my year.
Right.
He was the nigga.
Yeah.
I'm fresh out, I'm in high, I graduated in 06.
I'm still a nigga though.
You get what I'm saying? These niggas were inside. No disrespect.
Yeah, I'm still a nigga though.
Of course. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean.
No, most definitely not. That's, Sean T, man, that dude that already sold hundreds of thousands of records before, man. Like, you gotta listen to some of that old school messy shit. Like, Sean T did all that. Like, you feel me? I remember riding around with Mess, like 14, 15 years old, listening to beat CDs that Sean T gave him, and I thought it was like battle rap, battle cat, and he had the LA sound. Remember that whole West Coast sound?
Yeah. And
I used to be like, damn, let me get this, let me write to this. That was crazy, but it was Sean T, man. Sean T's a legend, man. Far, far before what Mr. Fab, the work that he did with me, man. That would be disrespectful to say I did anything for him. If anything, he did something for me. It was an honor for me to work with him. I was juiced. I was like, damn, I'm working with Sean T. Okay. So, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, Sean T's he's a Bay Area icon.
Just give me your top 5 rappers. This is some interesting shit.
Ever?
Period, yeah. I want to know that.
Tupac, Jay-Z, Eminem. Nas, Too Short. And that's just fast, random. I don't know.
Gotcha, yeah.
But
Tupac, J, M. I mean, yes, too.
My list, of course, there's more. Mm-hmm. I think kind of like summarize. Of course, I would 40's in there.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? Mac Dre's in there. I mean, I can only name 5.
Right.
But the reason why I picked those 5, I think Tupac and of course what he represents outside of music, just to the culture of the voice of the hopeless. He gave hope to the hopeless individuals, to the young black men who felt like they were going to die before 25. He planted certain seeds. Even he said it, I may not be the one that changes the world, but I will plant the seed of the brain that does spark and hatch to make change and the creation of that change. From a philosophical point of view, I feel like Tupac was very influential, more than music. Just the dichotomy of what he represented. He changed the trajectory of thought for young black individuals. And I feel like I will always put him up there when we talk about music. I feel like it's not even fair to put him in a list of musicians of hip hop. I put him up there with the Malcolm X's and with the W.B. Du Bois and the Marcus Garveys and so on and so forth, as far as the social economical power that he had to put the numbers, what he was able to do with the masses. So I will always include him for that. Jay-Z for what he has done in music, as far as this is a guy who come from the projects, who came from the bottom, who came from just being the street guy to get in rap, to rap, to possibly being a billionaire now, playing with billions, being able to be responsible for several individuals' careers, to be able to drop some of the hottest verses that rappers ever heard, to be able to, whatever people say, oh, Jay's a biter, Jay's this, whatever it is, for even to have the audacity to be at the height of his career and still use someone else's rhymes, that was incredible. No one was doing that at that time. People was just like, damn. He's like, yo, he took the big whole verse, but knowing that it was a catchphrase, knowing that it was something that I could say this in this song and everybody's going to know it.
Right.
And I automatically got you hooked because you're like, hold on, I know that record. Right. So it was no different than a producer sampling someone's beat.
Right.
He would just sample it. That kind of strategy, that marketing ability goes to show you why Sean Carter is who he is and why he is.
Right.
The music, man. People ask, what's the greatest Jay album of all time? And it's so crazy that even at the age that he is now, I feel like he just dropped his greatest album. And I love all his projects. But 444 is possibly one of the greatest Jay-Z albums because what he's able to address. He didn't have to talk about the things that he talked about on this album. He talked about financial literacy. He talked about economical empowerment. I want to send a big shout out, man, to my baby brother, man, that represent the Ice, man, C5. C5 is going so crazy, man. This kid is a real star. Y'all make sure y'all check him out, man. Got a single with T.O. right now called Every Day. That's crazy. And his new projects, man. Go check out the Dorm Flow. Hey, C5, man. Come on, man. Ice City, he representing. He got us, man. We're going to keep this shit lit. Once again, Rap Shack, man. Y'all stay posted. Y'all stay holding it down, man. I love what y'all be doing, man. You feel me?